Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be discussing Blood Glacier, the first BGH staff pick in, let's say, like 3 years. It seems like it's been a long time. Anyway, this is Mark's pick. We'll get to that in a little bit. I'm the editor-in-chief over at bloodygoodhorror.com. First off, joining me tonight with his German accent just at the ready, he's the beer expert at Bloody Good Horror, and his name is Joe.
I am so excited for this. It's going to be good.
Yes. I didn't even occur to me until I was like eating breakfast or something this morning. I went, oh, Joe can do his accent this show. It's awesome.
I like that dawned on you at the breakfast table.
Yeah. That's when I do my best contemplating.
In deiner breakfast noch.
Eating my blood sausages or whatever. Next up on the show, looking like a fine urban lumberjack tonight, drinking some whiskey and pretending he's tough. His name is Mark.
Wow, dude.
Ending.
That started so good.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Next up on the show, coming to you live from Manhattan. That's in New York City, in case you didn't go to Duke. He's the business manager at Bloody Good Horror, and his name is John Schnars.
Worked in all of the things there, huh?
Also known as Shanners. Schnaps.
I thought
Schneers.
it was like scanners, wasn't it? No, what I didn't know.
No, it was just Shanners.
Shanners.
I would like to say Schnars too, like continuing your trend of just looking completely disheveled on the show, and I'm enjoying it. Although your hair, I will say your hair is on point today. It's much better.
Well,
Thank you.
John, I assume you were out late partying with the news of Sarah Palin joining your would-be
Repping my boy.
president's...
Somebody emailed in last week and said you were gone because you were helping Trump get ready to build that wall.
Yeah, the Mexico wall.
So.
I listened to the show. I was telling you guys earlier.
Yeah.
Also, John, I hope that you noticed in your absence I was trying to pronounce forest the forest, because I know that's how you would pronounce it if you were on the show.
Is that how I pronounce? I never noticed.
Rotten
The question is,
tomatoes.
John, who are you going to have build the wall?
I mean, I'm just leaving that alone.
Anyway, last up tonight here on the show, chief in charge of beards at Bloody Good Horror. He is also the co-host, or the host, let's call him, of the Instamatic. That is a BGH spinoff, and his name is Casey.
Hello.
How's it going, Casey?
It's going well.
Fellas, we're back.
Ladies.
Schnars has decided his monthly appearance on the show is tonight, so let's get excited.
Oh Lord, I missed one show.
One show. What?
Yeah, listen, I was on the show before last show. What do you want from me?
I'm going to start calling John our monthly visitor.
That's
You are hereby known as Aunt Flo.
I love every part of that, Joe.
Uncle Flo.
Anyway, as mentioned here, we're here to talk about Blood Glacier. Mark, why don't we just start the show with this? Just tell us why you picked this movie. I'm not saying that facetiously. I would just like to know.
I reviewed it for the website like 2 years ago, and I remember liking it a lot more than I expected, so I thought it would be interesting to get some perspectives on it, and I can't wait to talk about it
should be
because
noted-
it seems like the perspectives differed from mine a little bit.
It should be noted too. So like we all kind of threw out staff picks. People voted on them. We're gonna do them in that order as we get open weeks. We did get at least one malcontent on social media who was upset with our picks. So it might be worth pointing out that when we do staff picks, I think if you go back to the early years, we maybe were doing a little bit of, hey guys, this is an amazing movie. We should check this out. Like, it's my favorite. I want to see what you guys think. At some point, it more devolved into like, hey, either a lot of mine have just been, I want to watch this movie and I know I never will if we don't do it on the show. Or like, hey, this thing might be funny to talk about. So we're not really trying to enlighten you at all here.
See,
we just want to talk about dumb shit.
I like to take a more thoughtful approach to my staff picks.
That's fine. That's the whole point of staff picks, John.
It's how
John,
we.
are you going to be on your staff pick show?
Dude, if you don't show up for
Unclear.
your staff pick, I will lose my shit.
I'm gonna be there. Relax.
If you make me watch some old boring Cronenberg movie and you're not there,
You guys get so salty. Yeah, so mine's actually coming up next based on the results of the voting. Mark and I actually were in a dead heat. There was a tie for number one. I just wanted to
I'm always in
get,
heat, John.
I just wanted to get that out on the
I
table.
gotta say,
This is-
I'm really shocked that peanut butter solution was not at number one.
Just I feel like shots are fired. I feel like everybody probably assumed that everybody was voting for that, and then no one did.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
I
sure
really
it
thought
was.
that we were just gonna get a whole bevy of smartasses that are like,
Well,
yes.
Here's
I
I mean,
need to
here's a
experience
thought. Like, how
Scott's
long
peanut
ago
butter.
was it that we like had this whole odyssey with the peanut butter? Like, maybe
It's true.
some of these Patreons like never even heard that show.
That's true. That's a
I
valid point.
just still maintain that Joe and Eric are both mocking the process by not even picking serious movies.
I picked a serious movie.
Eric's movie, I don't know anything about.
People
but it
listen.
might be
The
okay.
movie that
We'll
I
see.
picked, like, people love this movie.
All right.
People.
British people love this movie.
No, a lot of people like this movie.
Like
White people love
person.
this.
I didn't pick a Uwe Boll movie. What the hell do you guys want from me?
This movie. Yeah. No,
I know.
it's-
I actually. So here's some fun BGH trivia. Do you guys remember what the first staff picks were?
I'm
I'd
sure
take a
it
guess.
was.
Is that where the Sasquatch movie came out of?
Oh, Shriek of the Mutilated. I think
Yes.
that was mine.
yeah.
Thanks.
No, Mark, your first one was the first one I think that we ever did was or for you was what's his name? Not Bagul, with the fucking guy in Basket Case.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
Lyle,
was
I
yeah.
believe.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I think
John.
mine was Six String Samurai.
Casey's was Six String Samurai. Eric's was Postal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
Never mind. I started off just mocking this process from right out of
Yeah.
the gate.
Day one.
And for what
Mine
it's
is-
worth, I really liked Post.
Mine was either The Brood or Shivers. I can't because I did both of them for staff
It
picks.
was
I
The
just can't-
Brood. Was your
yeah.
first one?
Yeah, that was where I learned that David Cronenberg has issues with women.
Come on, that's you take that back.
I will not. Yeah, I really like Postal. Vern Troyer's in that suitcase. It's funny.
Oh my
It's
god,
funny shit.
literally, you'll
where he
never live
gets-
that down for me.
He gets
That's-
sexed by a bunch of monkeys. Is that a?
Do you
thing?
have wait? How do you just magically know our staff picks? Do you have that information in front
That's
of you?
weird, John.
No,
Wait,
Mark. What, Joe?
Oh, so
Well,
there
both
was
of
a
you.
period of time where we tagged things on the site because we thought that would be useful at a later date.
I
and
still tag stuff.
the only 4 movies we ever tagged as staff picks were the first 4 staff picks, and I
Huh.
was able to find that. So
Fascinating.
Well, Eric, you forget that I maintain the classic archive, so I have a pretty good working memory of all the episodes.
We should put out like packs of staff picks.
Oh,
We might have in the past. I don't know. I'd have to look.
staff packs.
You should get on that.
Staff packs.
Yeah.
I may have in the past. I can't remember. That one I don't remember.
Next week we're gonna talk about The Boy, in case you were keeping score at home. But right now we're gonna talk about a little trailer that came out.
Hoo boy.
10,
boy, I might
10
say.
Cloverfield Lane, a non-found footage movie starring both John Goodman and Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes.
Both delightful people in very different ways.
And that guy that was on the newsroom, whose name I can't remember.
It's sort of a teaser trailer, like you
No,
see.
that's what he's credited as, Mark.
There-
So, it's cool.
I only watched it once, and honestly, it's so confusing. Like I don't even know what I saw,
it's-
but it felt like in the beginning you just feel like you're watching a family playing around or something, and then at some point you realize like they might be in a shelter.
No, they're living in a bunker. I didn't. So
Yeah.
I saw that there was buzz about this on the internet, but I had not watched it or like really read anything about it. I thought it was fucking great. I thought it was a really good trailer. And like, yeah, it looks like they're just living in this bunker, hiding from something. You don't know what they're hiding from, and then you assume it's a Cloverfield monster. So
Yeah.
you just
I just woke up that morning and people were losing their shit at like 5:30 in the morning.
I mean,
about
the
it.
thing, it's more so than the content of the actual trailer. I just think it was the fact that no one had any fucking idea this movie was coming, and then you just wake up
Yeah.
one day
Well, yeah,
and
and-
this trailer's here.
And I saw a writer kind of say that, like, hey, you know what? Even if the movie ends up being terrible, like that's a really cool thing that doesn't ever happen anymore. That you could just wake up one day and know, like, find out about a movie you had no idea about.
Especially coming out of Bad Robot after JJ's been in the spotlight.
But it totally-
with Star Wars.
Yeah, but it does follow his kind of MO. Like you knew almost nothing about Cloverfield, like going into it. It's really interesting that it's not a found footage movie. I don't know what that says about found footage, or maybe they just figured, hey, let's try something different.
Well, we also don't.
I
like,
have to
we
see
don't
more of a
re-
trailer to like really judge.
Wouldn't it be amazing if it wasn't a Cloverfield movie? Like,
Well,
I
that's
feel
what
like
I
that
was
would
gonna
almost
say.
be as exciting. Like,
What
could
if
be
it was a
something
found
totally
footage
different.
movie where John Goodman is the cameraman?
What if it's like a Leprechaun reboot?
what if it's like Roseanne 20 years later and the apocalypse has happened?
And Dan really did have a heart attack.
Sweet,
Did
sweet
any?
reference, Joe.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. But did any of you guys watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Really good.
so I love that show, and we just rewatched it. So like we watched it second time through just for shits and giggles. But like as soon as I saw the bunker
That's
in
what you
this
thought of.
trailer, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, the bunker.
Females
Where's
are
the crank?
strong as hell.
Where, who's turning
It's
the
weird that
crank?
you have time to rewatch shows, but not for the podcast, John.
I agree.
I find that interesting.
Yeah, that's why I'm ducking the show. You caught
He's
me.
not making a judgment. He's just saying he finds that interesting.
Sorry,
Yeah.
fellas, no show this week. I gotta watch Cheers. We're up to season 4.
I really got to see what those
I've gotta watch
rascals Sam and
Glacier.
Diane are up to this week.
Will they? Won't they?
I love Cheers.
Will
Yeah, it was
Lilith
great.
be
I
on
do
this
love that show.
episode? I don't know. Let's find out. Cheers was a
You know,
great
back in the
show.
old days.
Cheers was kind of like the original Seinfeld. Like it was just I could watch any episode and just never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As a 10-year-old, Cheers was probably my favorite show.
It is weird. It is weird that we were like young kids
Yeah.
watching a show about a bar.
Yep.
But the big
Yeah.
question is, Coach or Woody?
Probably Woody for me.
Yeah, Woody.
Although some of the writing in the earlier episodes, like it was real solid.
Well, also, Joe,
Yeah.
like the other funny thing is when you really think back, like those people in real life are just all degenerates.
Oh, they're alcoholics.
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
they're not good people.
Hold on, you got a mailman. There's a psychiatrist.
What kind of mailman
but
just
Norm-
goes to the
Norm ditches
bar
on his
all
wife.
night just getting hammered? He's
Yeah.
probably a shitty mailman.
Every single one of them, every day.
Yeah, like that's right. That's what I'm saying. Every single one of them, every single day in that bar, the second work ended, or
Yeah.
like during their lunch break or something.
Just saying, there's a lot of judging going on right now.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm okay
still
with it.
jealous of every one of those people, and I like anytime I go into a new bar, I always hope that like maybe this is the one. Maybe I
that
will
was
be
basically
born here.
Joe's version of Fantasy Island.
Yeah, like the Pony Bar, John. Like when I used to go there and like they all knew my name. I'm like, this is my Cheers. Like
You've made it.
yeah,
You
and
Joe walks in and
forever
just to
never get
himself.
too drunk.
To himself, he's just humming like.
I would walk in the door and I'd be like, Joe, hey everybody.
Oh Christ.
Wow. Cheers. Good stuff.
Yeah. So,
But Cloverfield Lane, I'm in. I'm 100%.
I would say
you know
we're
when
all
it's
at
coming?
least half. We're all at least
Yeah.
half asked about it, right?
I think it is pretty interesting that like John Goodman, even if it isn't Cloverfield, is like in like a horror movie. Like,
Yeah,
it-
totally.
it's
well,
like,
don't forget he
oh.
was in that Kevin Smith joint too. He's really
Yeah.
good in it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm super
for
stoked
like
for that.
30 seconds.
I
he
wouldn't
was
say a
half
half-mast mark, but I would say that it moved. So
that it
Slightly
woke up from
turgid.
its slumber.
yeah, I kind of went.
Mighty Kong has awoken.
Way too much.
Speaking of
So-
old TV shows and it moving, you know it's this Sunday, right?
X-Files.
X Files.
Wow.
Yeah, they talked about. I know you guys talked about it last week. It was Sophie actually cracked me up with her story about her family all watching.
I don't think I've ever watched an episode of the X Files.
I tried to go back when they put it on Netflix a few years ago, and the first season is like real rough. Like, especially not having a
Yeah.
ton of nostalgia for it. I hear
Yeah.
that like season 3 is where it really kind of hits its stride, but that's a lot of. But there's so much like I assume you want all the world building still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many shoulder pads between season 1 and 2.
It's true.
I think I watched probably up through like season 5 or 6, and I kind of got once it got into like real deep mythology, cigarette man sort of.
I will say season 1, tons of great cameos from like recognizable people. Like, oh, that guy. Like, there's a that guy or girl almost every episode.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. So
There's
The
a
Jim
great
Rose
Jack
Circus
Black
Sideshow. Is that still a thing?
sure.
So something else that's happening on Sunday that I need to mention before I forget.
I was gonna actually
is
bring it
that-
up, Mark, but go ahead and steal my
Oh,
segue.
cool. Now you ruined my segue out of spite.
The Real Housewives of Potomac. I know. I'm excited too.
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, totally. So tweet
that
with
a
BGH
thing?
is God
Yeah.
damn it.
It just started last weekend.
Tweet with BGH is coming back, and they're gonna be reviewing Mortal Kombat the movie.
Oh boy.
Mortal Kombat.
So for those of you that are not familiar, Tweet with BGH is our sort of live tweeting thing that the new class does typically on the weekends. This weekend it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern. This week they're doing Mortal Kombat, and I heard a rumor that the following week they're going to be doing Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So
Boy.
I
That's
love
always-
that. I know they were kind of like debating as to what was next. I think they made a good choice there.
yeah.
I don't
And
care until
so
they do Street Fighter.
and also, as always, if you don't have time to do it on Sunday, you can catch up on the website. Usually on Tuesday, we'll have a recap post of all of the best tweets from the Tweet with BGH sessions.
I think it's worth noting that there was a time in the 90s when that song was like a top hit on the charts.
Yeah.
Just
Still a
just
top
your
hit
most
in my
generic
heart.
house beat ever, and then every once in a while you just hear the announcer go,
Fight.
Scorpion, Sub-Zero. It was the like as a young nerd who loved Mortal Kombat, it was kind of the fucking best.
Lunch is ready.
Oh man,
Christ.
just like what was going on in the 90s? What were we doing?
I was talking to my wife, I think it was last night or the night before, like, I don't think there will ever be another time when so many different types of music were popular, like, at the same time. Like,
Well, so I've said this before, but like VH1 did their top 100 hits of the 90s or whatever. I shit you not, every single one was a one-hit wonder. Every
Oh,
single
yeah,
one
for
was
sure.
some weird gimmick band. And that's weird. That seemed like that was like a uniquely 90s thing.
yeah.
I was talking to people at work about. So I work with a lot of younger folks these days, and we were talking about like good '90s music, and I started like listing bands because they literally were like, oh well, there's just not really much, good, like other than some of the iconic like hip hop acts and stuff like that. There's just like there wasn't a whole lot of like memorable or like
there's
long lasting
plenty.
acts. I was like, all right, like let's talk about Yo La Tango or
Let's
Pavement
talk about Sex
or
Baby. Let's talk about
I mean,
music.
there was just like all these
Salt and
bands that they'd
Pepper,
never heard of.
yes.
But more the point was like to your point, like all the like chart topping hits were just nonsense.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
but there's like deep, good
Ooh la la,
music
baby.
from the.
I mean, but whatever. You
I
can't. I mean,
saw-
you can't discount grunge either. Like whatever you
No.
think about those bands, those were like iconic
Well,
bands.
Grunge was
Johnny,
my thing.
don't you go and cut.
I mean,
your
these guys,
hair.
most of these guys all grew up pre Nirvana, right? Like, or kind of after Nirvana, rather.
So these are younger guys.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. I got you.
I find it funny because Lollapalooza takes place here in Chicago now, and every year it comes around, and the kids get all excited that I work with.
It's the
And I'm like,
worst.
yeah, I saw that like in Syracuse back in, like 97 or something. They're like, what? Like,
Were they like,
that-
what's
And they're like,
Syracuse?
oh, cool. You spent less than $300 to go see them. What are you, a
Yeah,
idiot?
exactly.
and I saw
Yeah.
the Wu-Tang for the children.
I saw the Spin Doctors live twice in the 90s. so
That is
it had its up
awesome.
and
There you
down.
go.
Are there pictures of you at this concert?
Probably.
You should find them.
Did they ask you what time?
I'm not
it
gonna lie.
was?
One
Was
was,
it
with
4:30?
once was with Sonic Youth and once was with the
Ooh,
Gin Blossoms.
That's cool.
Mm.
I could get into some Jim
I
Blossoms.
actually
Sounds
the
like
Gin
hell on
Blossoms
earth.
played at Genesee Brewery in like the parking lot a couple years ago. They had
in the
like a,
parking lot.
they
Just
had, like,
sweet
it was-
Jesus.
it was Gin Blossoms and somebody else. They played. It was
They
called
just
Rock-
showed up. It was an
I'm not gonna lie.
There you go.
I had that
It's
Spin
called,
Doctors
uh,
tape, and it was worn out.
it was
Oh
called
yeah.
Rock the Cans because outside the Genesee Brewery, their giant brew tanks look like big cans of the beer.
What time is it? It's
So-
4:30.
I feel like you guys are putting off trying to talk about this movie.
I just one more. Presidents of the United States of
Oh,
America. and
Pusa,
I'm done.
I was a giant
No,
fan.
I would like to say, Joe, that Joe, we should point out that somebody was angry at you on Twitter on Friday or Saturday night because you said like, "Hey, what are you watching and drinking?" And they said, like, "I'm drinking a beer and watching this stupid French baby because of Joe."
Jordy.
Yeah.
Millions
Ooh la
of
la,
peaches, peaches for
baby.
free. Millions of peaches for free.
I bet you we could get away with playing that song in the video without getting hit with
Sure.
YouTube
Those
copyright.
guys still tour. They came to Chicago last year.
The baby.
No, no.
Wouldn't that be
about
awesome if the baby was just 30 years old but still sung the like baby lines in the songs and
I
they
wonder what
like.
Jordy looks like today.
Oh, I'm
Can
already
you get
it.
on that? Thank you.
I'm
All right,
on
Joe. What are we drinking tonight while we look up French
Oh
babies?
Jesus Christ! That
Sorry.
came out of left
It's a
field.
little abrupt.
It's tough to be a baby.
It's so hard being the baby. Oh, little baby.
You do that so good, it's terrifying. Like, why
I've had
do
a
you
lot
know
of
that so
practice.
well?
So Blood Glacier, movie about a glacier filled with blood, which is all you really need to know. And in honor of that blood, I picked a beer from the good folks at Pipeworks Brewing right here in Chicago, Illinois, And the beer is Blood of the Unicorn.
Ooh.
Yeah, because unicorns bleed. Um, this is a American red ale, which is it's the style is pretty open. It's pretty much anything that's in between like a porter and like your sort of average ale. Like it's there's not like a really like one style or one sort of flavor or taste you can put against this type of beer. Usually they're more on the malty side and have sort of like a spicy flavor to it. This one is a lot more hopped than or has a lot more hops than sort of the usual red ale. I think a lot of people probably know Killian's, which you would consider a red ale, but I don't know. Do they still make Killian's? I don't think I've had one of
So.
those.
think they
I think
do.
they do, yeah.
I don't think I've had one of those since I was of legal drinking age.
I like a fine red ale. Yeah, Killian's was definitely one of those. Yo, bro, we got like 6 beers. Let's go hang
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Blood of the Unicorn is super
oh,
good.
God, Mark.
they-
Oh my God. Mark
Oh,
just sent
no.
a picture of what Jordy looks like now.
Oh,
and
no.
it is about the fever dream you would
Stop.
expect.
It's a
Oh,
life
jeez.
ruiner. For those of you who have no fucking idea what we're talking about,
It's in the video.
I've also included a picture of Jordy as a baby.
Wait, does
for
he still
comparison.
perform?
Oh, he's got a band now. Yeah.
No.
Like Jordy and the Babies?
Actually, that is shockingly close to what it is. It's Jordy and the Dixies is the name of the band.
He was more like a French toddler here, Joe, than baby. I guess we should.
I hope it's just the shitty quality of this picture because his teeth look like they've been sharpened to points.
Yeah, like he's a vampire or something.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
And the Dixies, Eric, if you want to put that up in the feed there.
The Dixie Chicks.
He looks less ridiculous in the band picture.
Hmm.
To be fair to Jordy.
Where the
Poor
hell was it?
Jordy.
Um,
You know
so
what
anyway,
though? You know what sucks about that? Like he didn't have a choice in that matter. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
true.
he
His
had
parents were just.
Yeah, he had some crazy stage parents, and then he probably hit puberty and went, "Oh my God, what in the f is wrong with you?"
You know
Now
what the
I just have
fucked
to
up
be
part
the
about this
singing
whole
baby.
thing is? Jordy has 3 albums.
Oof.
There
That's
you go.
it.
Pre or post baby.
It's pretty good for a baby.
I don't know. Wait, is it? Yeah. How like? When did the last one come out? I don't know why that's so funny.
Oh my god.
Okay.
This is thoroughly off the rails here.
Show is done.
I would argue that it was never on the rails.
The show is over.
Eric is legit losing it. Oh man.
Shut it down.
Anywho, so Blood of the Unicorn, they just started canning this beer so you can find it in your local shops. Comes in at about 6.5% alcohol, so a little bit higher on the booze there, but super good. Pipeworks, everything they put out is usually pretty good, so I suggest giving this one a go and anything else you can find of theirs. pdubs.net is their website.
P-dubs? No, thank you.
.net, Eric, because .com was already taken.
As long as we're in,
Dubs.com.
as long as we're in the 90s, we might as well stay there.
Don't bother going to their website.
I can't even right now. Let's go to break. Stand
Yeah.
by.
All right, we're done.
I feel like I'm dying inside. I feel like Nev Campbell in Scream 2. She thinks she can go off to college and be happy. And then the murderer comes back. Starts killing off all of her friends. Learned a lot of lessons from that movie. This is just one of them.
Greetings, gentlefolk. This is James Duval from Donnie Darko, May, and Sushi Girl, and you are listening to BloodyGoodHorror.com.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. From the prime time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back. I'm officially stuffed up now because Casey made me cry. So,
I was so excited I unmuted early.
woo, that was good. Good stuff. John,
Sir.
are there any babies at Duke?
No rapping babies.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some, floating around.
A lot of
otherwise.
babies made. You know what I'm saying? Heyo.
True story. My wife was born at Duke.
What?
Wait, like at Duke?
Yeah, like at the hospital.
Like on the campus?
Wait, there's a hospital on the campus?
Ugh.
Yeah, it's like a major hospital in North
Oh,
Carolina.
sorry, bro.
Oh.
I didn't
North
know.
Carolina? Oh, excuse me. Well.
I mean, yeah, people go there.
That's
for,
the
like,
Carolina that's on
cancer and
top.
shit.
Well,
Yeah.
golly gee. Shores.
Yeah, she was born there. Her parents were doctors at the hospital, and she was born there.
Are you done
Or like
bragging?
Dukers, am I right?
I'm just telling you, yeah, there's babies. You asked the question.
All right, John.
You would think with all that smarts floating around, John, you could create an Excel doc to track all the words of the days.
Joe, I am very excited because this is definitely a new word.
One thing that babies don't know, and that occasionally there's evidence that you do know, are words. So, as we do every week when you join us, please give us the word of the day.
I don't know.
Go ahead, John. This is what happens when you leave us.
Today's word is glacier. Boom.
You are fired.
You know what's hilarious? I really appreciated Mark pushing back on your use of a proper noun in last week's show.
Yeah, is that a thing? Because I feel like that's
that
never been a thing.
flies wildly in the face of the rules of word of the day.
Oh, I did actually break a rule. Because I
Yeah.
thought Mark was making that up.
No.
No.
That's a legit rule.
Someone's got to stand for something on this goddamn podcast.
Whatever. As I said last week, I do what I want. So
No, and that's fine. But I'm back, and we're talking about the word glacier. You may know where I got this word from. It's in the title of the film. That's Glacier, a slowly moving mass or river of ice formed by the accumulation and compaction of snow on mountains or near the poles. And it comes from Latin, glaciers. I don't know if that's Latin or how you would pronounce it. But the French word glacier, it means ice. And that gives us our modern day glacier.
thanks, John. I didn't know what glacier meant.
I didn't realize glaciers moved, so I'll
There you
give
go.
you that.
Yeah,
Joe.
they move very slowly. That's
They
why,
do.
like, in certain
That was the whole
areas,
point of this movie, Joe.
in certain areas that used to be covered by glaciers that then receded, you find these giant rocks because they slowly over time got like dragged across the landscape.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah, I guess-
stuff too, Schnars. So
I
there,
guess I did know that, so yeah, forget it, Joe.
we don't need you.
Many a mountain have been carved by glacier. And yeah.
I do need you, John, because I actually couldn't follow this movie enough to synopsize it. So
Okay.
why don't you tell us what this was about?
You know what? I was also going to comment on the fact that it's funny that when you synopsize, there's no one there to interrupt you, and
It goes like that.
Yeah, it goes
Bam.
very.
Wow.
All right, Blood Glacier is the story of a lot of people who are doing science research
Guesstimate, John.
Science!
in the Alps. I should say they're the Austrian Alps. This is an Austrian film directed by Marvin Kren. I believe that's the Austrian pronunciation. It's so you got this research team. They're in sort of a distant alpine research station. They and very early on in the film, they discover a glacier that has blood on it. And
Do you think they actually died? You think that was all CG, or like did they shoot a real glacier and then make it red, or is that whole scene CG, or did they just get a bunch of like red food coloring and just do that?
glacier is definitely real. I think the coloring was all
Yeah,
after
some
effect.
part of it seemed off.
Do you think it was fun to film, John? Do
The-
you think they had cock at the rap party?
Had what?
Was there enough cock for everyone? Was there pieces of cock for everyone at the
Okay.
rap party?
All right.
Carry on,
and we're done here. Yeah, so you've got this group of people. They come into contact with the Blood Glacier, and when they find the Blood Glacier, there's like a little cave that's sort of like to the side of it, and in there's a fox that has like a kind of pulsating, wound in its stomach.
Gross.
Yeah, and something comes out of that, and you don't really see it, but they're a little freaked out. And the sort of main character's name is Yannick. He's been living essentially at this research station for 5 years, whereas everybody else kind of comes in and out on 1 year stints. It's kind of like the International Space Station. You can't be there too long, or you, I don't know, go crazy. But he's been there for a while. He has this dog that he's kind of like teamed up with, and yeah, so the Blood Glacier starts to.
They solve crimes and
He's
mysteries.
teamed up with the dog.
No, I mean it was his best
They
friend.
were a pretty solid crew there. Like,
It's like the International Space Station if that was a 3-hour walk from someplace. Just
Yeah, that like old people could easily.
yeah,
get to.
that you could just stroll home.
So yeah, so they're there. They are awaiting the arrival of some minister, like the environmental minister, I guess. And she's coming with a journalist team and like a photographer.
I don't really know what a minister is in these terms, John. Would that be like a cabinet member?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like prime
from
minister,
America.
but a lesser
Bureaucrat.
minister.
He's a bureaucrat.
I assumed she was on her way up to marry everyone.
Perform
I now
religious
pronounce you man
services.
and fox.
So Yannick is kind of like the caretaker. He gets like real freaked out when they find the Blood Glacier. Everyone else thinks it's like an awesome opportunity to do science research, and he's kind of like, no, this thing may or may not have created a rabid fox situation, and they're kind of poo-pooing it, and then I can't remember who gets attacked first. I guess the dog comes into contact with the rabid fox.
That poor dog, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tinny? Is Tinny the
Tinny.
name of the dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
The worst dog name ever.
Well, it was short for something. It was like it had
Tinnitus.
yeah. So yeah, so the dog
That would have
gets
made a
bit.
pretty good word of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, John.
You want me to go
Blood
back?
would've been
Fuck,
good.
John.
You should have gone with blood.
Just play the music again. No, so yeah, that the dog getting attacked kind of sets Yannick off, and then he's trying to warn this crew, the minister that's walking up sort of the back pass, and as he's warning them, they
Sounds
get
like a
attacked
euphemism.
by some kind of bird demon thing.
With a fucking scorpion tail.
Yeah, it was a scene straight out of Birdemic for the most part, I would say. And yeah, and then it's basically straight creature feature from there on out, with
Yes.
the people kind of living or trying to survive in this research station and being attacked by mutants. They pretty quickly unravel the mutant situation.
Real quick. Like,
Yeah, like within 2 minutes.
It was like, hey, I saw this thing under a microscope. I think it's taking the DNA from the things. and
turns out
turn-
microscopes help you see exposition.
They also grew super fast for this like amazingly simplistic reason, because bugs.
Yeah.
Like bug things. So yeah, so it kind of turns into a little bit of a zany.
It's very like, I would call it an enviro thriller almost. Like a very, it's
Oh, yeah.
all right. Listen, I could have done this in 3 seconds. It's a remake of The Thing with this environmentalist aspect bolted onto it.
They really do kind of like, there's a lot of setup and then conversation about sort of the fact that the glaciers are melting and receding, and they're researching the disappearing glaciers.
Is it weird that I was a little jealous while watching this that these people live in a place where it's just understood that the glaciers are melting and that that's a bad thing and we should do something about it, and that it like that's a key premise to this movie that is never questioned, and I found that oddly comforting.
Well,
Yeah.
they're Austrian mountain folk, all right? They don't have cool cars. They don't have fun stuff to play with. Like, they have a dog. Like, that's it. Like, that's
Just-
all they have to worry
Just
about.
a dog.
And they couldn't even fucking take care of that.
And Tinny isn't even that fun, anyways.
Yeah. Hey Joe.
I like that the old guy that came in later, his whole claim to fame, the whole reason he was there is because he grew up in the mountains.
Was it? I had
thought
no idea why he was
the
there.
husband of the minister. It was very
No,
unclear.
he was the Alpiner.
Okay.
Joe,
Yes, sir.
what did you think of Blood Glacier?
It was fine enough. I wasn't a giant fan. I think, I thought some of the effects of the creatures were kind of cool. I wish there was more of that. It's not. I assume they didn't have a huge budget for this, so I think with what they had, they did a decent job. I think I just would have liked to have seen a lot more. We'll talk about it, and we talked a lot about it over email. Like, there's definitely a lot of slow parts to this, and for this type of movie, I kind of expect things to be a little more batshit crazy. but it
How
never
long
really.
was it? It seemed like 3 hours long to me when I was watching.
It was like a little over an hour and a half.
Really?
It wasn't,
Yeah.
wasn't super
that
long.
blows my mind. Okay.
But I think you kind of keep waiting for shit to really hit the fan, and it never really does, which I think is kind of the disappointing part to me.
Well, there's still a lot of plot to unravel at a point where it feels like maybe it should just be batshit craziness. Like you should have all the plot done, and instead they stop for exposition like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and there's really, there's no need for it. There's a lot of parts of this where I feel like they build up what's going to be like a tense moment, or like a battle is going to happen or something, and it just sometimes it happens, but it only lasts for like maybe 30 seconds or something. Like you never feel like there's a ton of danger in this whole situation, even though there's these like creatures that are trying to kill them. So whatever.
Mark.
I just want to say I love that picture of Tinny in the feed that I gave to you.
Huh.
What a great dog.
Thanks for complimenting me.
So this was, as mentioned earlier, this was my staff pick. I had no pretensions about this being like a really great sort of groundbreaking movie, but I thought it would be a nice change of pace. So I rewatched it for the show, and while I was starting to see more of everyone's criticisms of it, I still enjoyed it. I think that it's hard for me to separate my I don't know if ironic is the word, but just my enjoyment of a bunch of people loudly screaming at each other in German with a bunch of like really wacky creatures thrown in. Like if this was an English language film, it's possible that they were trying to make a really good movie that just came off as kind of cheesy and terrible. But I just, whatever the total package of this is, I kind of enjoyed it. I just thought that there was so much fun in the kind of low budget creature stuff, and it was reasonably tense. It was kind of boring in spots, but I don't know. Even on my second watch, I still thought it was pretty fun. I might not have given it a 7 like I did when I wrote my review, but I would have given it a 6. So it wasn't that much of a drop off. Such is the life
of an internet critic, Mark.
Yeah, it doesn't really. If I was hungry when I wrote the review, I probably would have given it a 3. But I must have just been in a great mood the day that I watched it, and I gave it a 7.
I mean, I'm also a big proponent though too of like rating a movie based on what it's trying to do. You know what I mean?
Right. And to me, this felt like, again, this could just be my misunderstanding of like the production of the whole thing. But I do kind of feel like the juxtaposition of just like the really serious acting with the really ridiculous creature stuff was intentional.
But it's hard to tell like what kind of tone they're going for with subtitles, and especially like
right.
This movie's dubbed over, and the dubbing is just awful.
Yeah, I did not. I watched it with the subtitles.
Yeah. So, Joe, were you able to turn the subtitles off?
Yeah.
Because I kept turning them off on Netflix, and they wouldn't turn off.
Weird.
And it was this weird thing where, instead of giving you the big chunk of text, they were scrolling up. So, like, after you read a line, it would then just get bumped up a line. And it took me a minute to figure out what the hell was going on. And I just kind of had, like, not that I couldn't understand, but it seemed like it was going by too fast that way. Instead of just leaving the dialogue up for a few seconds so you can read it.
Weird. That took a while for me to get used to.
There's also a lot of fast-paced shouting, so it's like some of the like arguments you're like trying to keep up.
I mean, I like honestly, that was one of my favorite aspects of the movie, but just on a pure like base entertainment thing, as a person who doesn't understand German, I just liked the sound of people screaming at each other.
Guttural language.
But did you guys watch it in German, or did you?
No, I watched it in German. I didn't.
I watched it totally in German.
I really wish I had watched it dubbed actually, because I feel like that would have been funny.
Do they speak German in Austria? Are we assuming that?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sounds right. Shouldn't you know that, Joe?
Some of my best friends are Austrian.
I'm just a farmer.
I know an Austrian guy.
Some of my best friends are beetle foxes.
Stars.
Am I going, or you want Casey to go?
Just the beetle fox.
I would like you to go, Schnars.
All right, I'm ready to jump in. I think the best version of this movie was called Dead Snow.
Sure.
I think, and like that's where I liked Mark's point or Eric's point about sort of grading this on sort of what they were trying to accomplish. And like in that regard, like I didn't even love Dead Snow, though I like appreciated what it was trying to do. And this was like doing that not as good.
But Dead
you
Snow
know.
was fun. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like jump in. Like I felt like Dead Snow was a lot of fun to watch. Like this.
But I do think like the most charitable reading of this is like there were funny parts. Like they were trying. Like I did like that the scientists. So the folks who were at the station when they discovered the blood glacier were just so cavalier about like we don't care that there's mutants basically trying to like eat us. Like we need to study this. Like even as they're like being like gnawed on. I mean, so that part I liked. Like I found some of that stuff to be funny. The guy who what was the line about eating the banana? Like
Oh my god.
there was
Stop eating that banana while you're fucking crying.
yeah. The guy with the glasses who kind of survives the longest, I found quite amusing. So I don't know. There were parts of this that were definitely funny. Mark also had a good shout in the email about the main character being super bald and like
So bald.
pretty
But you can
pathetic.
actually
Bald,
see
but
if you're
also
watching
rocking
the
the
feed right now.
awesome like 70s like long hair like Sharon Lois and Bram bald.
yeah. Yeah.
Or
That
Kurt
is a
Russell, if you
very
will.
dated reference.
I really enjoy that look, and I just feel like I'm headed there someday. So like I like that people like this are rocking it. So I feel like I'm just gonna do it someday. I don't care.
I mean,
I'll do it. I don't care.
For what it's worth, I thought his kind of character trajectory was at least minorly interesting. I just like in the beginning, he was just like a drunken, depressed piece of shit, and then his ex-girlfriend shows up and he's like trying to be the hero.
Yeah, I mean the like love story piece was like a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like
This whole movie is like a lot ridiculous.
No, I know, and that's like to Joe's point. I guess there's just a lot of plot here
It's
that
a lot to unpack.
yeah, that if they and I mean I think Dead Snow kind of has that failing in some ways as well. But yeah, I don't know. It was fine. I was the last thing I'll say, and then I'll stop. But I was a little disappointed in the creature effects. I actually just like didn't think they were super good. So, which like
I mean, they're
that's
not.
kind of like the bar that
Which
you
can be
need to
charming,
clear.
to be fair.
Yeah. But
It's
I think
a lot
they,
of push. It's a lot of pushing really massive puppets at people.
yeah,
that are, like,
it's a lot of sort of
clearly
quick
so big
flashes
because
so you
they're
don't
trying
actually
to
see
hide
them.
those.
Like
Yeah. All right.
Well,
And they're all
yeah.
practical. I'm pretty sure.
No, they were. But like Eric was even joking when Mark was sending pictures either like right at the beginning of the show or before while we were just getting the stream started. You couldn't even
He
use any
sent
of
me
the
some
pictures.
picture of a monster that was all blurry. It was like a blurred mess of teeth and hair.
Yeah. But that's really what it looked like when
Yeah.
they shot it. So.
All right, guys. Casey's really excited over here. Go ahead, Casey.
Oh, I'm pretty excited. I like this movie a lot. I had fun. I think I'm kind of right there with Mark. There's a lot of juxtaposition here with the way it's delivered and acted, and then once the crazy shit starts happening with the monsters, it was fun. I mean, more than anything, I didn't find any slow parts, so I didn't have that problem with it. I think more than anything, I spent most of this movie sitting there on the edge of my seat thinking, okay, what's gonna pop out of who next? Because that's kind of an ongoing theme of this
That would
movie.
have been a great name for
monsters
this movie.
popping out of stuff.
What's gonna pop out of who?
Yeah, and so
That would be pretty good.
And most of it's telegraphed, so you know it's coming. You just wait to see how it's going to come. But it was fun. It's a B movie. I think this was a good take at a modern B creature movie, where they have some messages that they're putting out there, but they're really camping it up. It was a good find on Netflix. So good choice, Mark.
Thanks. I mean, one of the things that I'd hope was they're like leaning towards being ridiculous is that it seemed to me like they took particular glee in announcing the combinations of animals.
Yes.
Like very specifically, this was a fox and a woodlouse, and it's like what
Yeah.
who
did
the
they
fuck
know?
thinks
Because
of-
like at one point that like horned whatever thing comes in and like there's wings on it and just I don't know like what the fuck.
It
is
had
going
moth
on.
wings. That was the greatest part about that, though, because throughout this movie, every time a new monster shows up, you're looking at it like, okay, who ate what before it got bit to get turned into
I mean,
this?
I think that I can chalk
You guys
up.
were able to make way more sense of anything.
Yeah.
over
No,
this.
I will say that I think honestly I can chalk up most of my enjoyment of this movie to seeing what ridiculous creatures pop up and not even making sense of them, but just like laughing at how fucking ridiculous they are. I feel like that to me was what made me enjoy this movie all the way through. And like it's something very unique about practical effects because you just kind of know that there's someone that like had to make it and there's someone behind it piloting it and there's like so much love in the whole process. I just feel like I was probably reading too much into it, but that's where I got all my enjoyment in this movie. Was
Yeah,
just
I think you were.
silly.
I think you were.
So
Just how silly all the creature shit was. I just thought was super
Yeah.
fun.
I
No,
think
that's
fucking love
actually a
that
fair
Falcon.
point.
No, it totally is. I guess I just kind of wanted to see more. Like, I feel like they could have done some really cool shit with this, and I totally appreciate the fact that it's probably like a budget thing, but like the
It's
idea was
definitely a
so
budget
cool that
thing.
they could have like put like all these things together, and then because of the limitations, like all you kind of see is like these quick flashes of things going on, and you never kind of like really get like a good picture of most of these creatures that they had in there.
Also, it can't be understated like how closely this movie resembles The Thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's.
I
I
mean,
think I
kind of.
I
Like,
refer to it almost as a remake.
no, it is so The Thing. Like you're
It's so
first
much
of all,
like-
you're on a research station that basically looks like the Arctic. The whole thing about The Thing, right, is like these molecules get inside of you and then they
Tell me
reproduce.
more about The Thing. About
and then
The
they
Thing.
reproduce and they kind of bust out of you. Like it's, I
yeah,
mean,
but
the blood glacier thing is the only thing that really differentiates it from The Thing. Like, and they even play off of the whole idea of like you don't know who's kind of infected, so there's all this like distrust between the people.
yeah, but the whole point of The Thing was that like you didn't know who was infected because the people still looked like themselves, even though they were.
yeah,
like,
I mean, there's
totally
slight variations,
like-
but like this is so clearly inspired by The Thing. Come on.
Yeah, well, it was clearly inspired by, but I think they just like took the like setting and the like basic premise. Like,
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
I think these
Which
people
is
were
fine.
very inspired by The Thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's worth pointing out.
Is that what you meant, Mark? Did you mean for us to watch The Thing? Is that what you wanted?
So I'm like kind of I'm a Joe
It was
character on this
amazing how
one.
they put that bald cap on Kurt Russell in this movie.
Yeah.
It's really.
I'm a Joe character on this one. I'll be honest. I watched most of this movie before I realized it was trying to be funny, and I think a lot of that is maybe sort of when you got subtitles. There's like a cultural thing, especially with humor. And I feel like a lot of times when we review movies where it's supposed to be a little funny and a little scary, and it's dubbed like this or there's subtitles, for me sometimes it's like hard to pick that stuff up. I was really kind of bored by this movie. And I feel like part of the problem is that, like as we kind of mentioned earlier, every time it starts to pick up, it just sputters out and then just stops for this like ridiculous exposition. And maybe if I had realized it was supposed to be funny, I would have been like waiting, like, I don't know, more into that stuff. Like now looking back on it, I can look at it. I guess that was funny, but when the scientist like takes a little sample of this monster, sticks under a microscope for 5 seconds and goes, "Oh, I know," and then explains this long drawn out thing, I was like, well, are you fucking kidding me? Like seriously? And now I'm
that's
thinking like, well,
hilarious.
maybe that's like funny and dumb. I don't know. But
I mean, it's definitely funny. And
I
dumb.
think that this is maybe, if I could like, I don't know, make any defense of this movie, I think it might be something fun with like, if you have friends that you like to watch bad movies with. This is not a good movie. I'm sorry. Like I think it could be fun on bad movie level.
Apology not accepted.
But
well, I
you
will
need
say,
people. I feel like you need people with you to enjoy.
But
that.
I will say too that having watched it a second time, like you guys had, I don't know if you guys read my review before you
No.
watched it. I'm guessing not. But like the second time, it really benefited from me having seen it before and understanding that it's ridiculous, because I then was able to watch it again, fully accepting how ridiculous it is. And if you had like moderate to high expectations, I can imagine that was really disappointing.
I had
Whereas
actually zero expectations. I really did not know what to make of a movie called Blood Glacier, but I guess I thought it would be more over the top ridiculous.
Well, I feel like I remember seeing this on not even like you, Mark, but like a few sites saying that this was like one of the better films of like 2015 this
Yeah,
came out, or 14 or
no, 13, I think.
Nah.
Well,
really?
I don't remember
13.
anything else from 2013, but I can tell you this was not a top 10 of 13.
I remember seeing this on a few different sites where people were talking about how it was, kind of like this good movie that kind of flew under the radar.
Like for me, it really, I'm not adverse to the reading of it being like a good movie, a good sort of bad movie to watch, and in that context, I'm totally on board.
If that's your jam.
I still like, if we had seen this as like a group at like a con, like I could see myself having enjoyed it. I really like, I don't want to hammer it too much, but like I just wish the creature effects were like a little zanier. I mean,
Well, there's no real money shot because it's all obscured. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wish they weren't all. This will sound bad, but I just wish they weren't all black.
Yeah, well, because no,
That does sound bad.
no, it's a contrast thing, Casey.
Yeah.
You're totally right. Like, you just can't make out.
Because it's all in shadows.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well,
so yeah,
super
like,
shaky cam and
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of like
I
fast
will-
cuts.
paper mache, you know.
I will agree that this definitely does lack, like, it does, especially in the end, does not really build up to like the big showdown that you would expect. Like, if you think of something like Slither or even was it Splinter,
God.
that movie? Do you guys remember that
yeah,
movie?
the pacing is real weird. Splinter was really good. That might have been a 2013 movie actually.
No,
No,
Splinter's
that's all-
older.
No, that was older than that.
Yeah.
But
What do I know?
with those built up, like those,
Not
you know,
Time.
you would hope that this had all these like little kind of creature things, like it had the bug thing and it had the bird and whatever, and it was building up to just like some insane monstrosity, which I think it tries to do, but doesn't ultimately deliver on that like big.
It
Yeah,
just
well-
never happens. Like, and that's kind of what you're waiting for the entire movie. And I don't want to spoil the ending, but like, there's really no like sort of giant like battle or anything.
It
in the
does
end. It's-
Bagul.
I mean, Mark's
Yeah.
Mark's ultimate staff pick, Dead Alive, you know, that's like maybe the ultimate best version of this movie, right? Where you've just got these like zombie animals and like
It's the most
Yeah.
disgusting mom puppet thing ever.
but it's funny because like Joe's talking about budget being a limitation, which definitely true, but like it's not as if Peter Jackson had
Are
some
you saying this
sure.
movie
That's
needed
what-
more
I mean,
custard?
if my and it's a thing we say often on the show too, and it was one of my critiques of like the Final Girls, which is just like so far out of what this is trying to be. But if my critique is something like it's not over the top enough, just understand that I'm weighing it against the bar of Dead Alive, which is by far the most like committing to it, over the top, gory, low budget, insane movie ever. So I wouldn't say that this even comes moderately close, and I could definitely see wanting more of all of that.
So you
Mark Newell
apologize,
says
is what you're
Blood
saying.
Glacier better than Dead Alive.
I mean,
Use that 11.
I would say it's not that bad. Like
No, it's not that bad. That's a very fair assessment.
It's not. I'll put it this way: they took this project way more seriously than I expected of a movie called Blood Glacier. Like,
I mean,
this is a real movie that had like people and cameras and stuff, and I really just expect. I honestly probably had way low expectations. I think I expected it to be like more of a sci-fi type production, which I guess it's not super far off. But
Are you referring
Yeah,
to
with the
FY?
name like Blood Glacier, I'm just glad it wasn't shot on Handycam.
yeah, like it's the name I feel like is really shitty, and I wonder if that's a bad interpretation, or if they just were like, I don't know, this movie's weird, we got to name it as literal as possible.
Well, the
I mean,
Blood
the
Glacier
actual
itself is
name
not
is-
even that important of a part of the movie.
It's really not,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really, the purpose of it is to kind of shove this like ham-fisted environmentalist message into it.
See, the science stuff part of it is part of the enjoyment to me because it cracks me up. There's some great movies out there that are total satire flicks called The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, who's put on by a troupe of comedians and whatnot. And part of that whole thing is making fun of old 50s sci-fi movies and monster movies and stuff like that. And the scientist in there is always talking about how he's got to be out there to do science because he's a scientist and he's doing science. That's what all that reminded me though of, like when
There's
that
a lot
lady
of
looks
that
in
in this movie.
that lady looks in the microphone for 2 seconds, like you guys brought up earlier, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, these organisms are
She's like,
gene
Well,
machines."
Well, I scientisted this, and this is what I came
Yeah.
up with.
They also turned very quickly from let's study it to let's throw it in the fire. That just happens like
Wow.
Yeah.
quick. But also, so again, I know that you guys are probably going to give me shit about even bringing this up like defensively, but part of the
Cannot
reason
wait to hear what
part
you're
of the
about to
reason
say.
that we do staff picks is to our staff picks I feel like are very telling, especially like if you look at the list that we came up with. And for me, like sometimes I just want to watch a movie like this and not like some middling, shitty PG-13 ghost movie. So like when I'm called
I think
upon
they
to
help
pick,
like shake things up a bit. Like it just,
I mean,
have us like turn our eye onto something totally different than we're used to.
I mean, to me, this is the kind of shit that I watch to like just palate cleanse when movies bum me out. Like even if this movie isn't very good, I feel like it's well intentioned and you know.
I watched The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
you
and
should check out
they
those
were-
Night at the Museum movies, Mark. Those are Those are great.
No, but to Mark's point, like the people here were like having a good time. The people making the movie. We should talk about the minister who was hysterical, I thought.
She was awesome.
She may be the mother of the director because her name is Bridget Kren,
What about
which would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a big fan. I would watch her in other things.
She was definitely the best part of this. Like she screamed a lot. She yelled at a lot of people.
She performed a surgery.
Yeah, just fucking went for it.
That whole line, though, because she literally told that one girl that was with their party to stop crying when you're eating that fucking banana. It's just out of nowhere, and I lost it.
Weird.
I just want to point out that Bridget Kren was on season 5, it looks like, of the Austrian Dancing with the Stars.
Cool.
Get the fuck out of here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check that out.
Nice.
So
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Wikipedia
Blood Glacier. Is there an entry mark?
for movie guide?
No way.
Jesus, that would be amazing.
No.
They'd be real pissed about the environmental message of this movie.
Well, there's a whole evolutionary
Right.
factor, too.
Right? They even say the word evolution.
It's unnatural.
Yeah. All right. Would you recommend this movie, Joe?
Nah.
Mark?
Yes.
John?
No.
Casey?
Yes.
I'm going to break the tie and say no. I'm also going to say if you would like to watch a killer
Boo.
bug movie, I highly recommend 1993's Mosquito starring Gunnar Hansen. And that is all I have to say. I have it on VHS behind me if you guys want to check it out.
No. But thanks.
Yeah, we'll
That's
wait
my
for
new
you to
favorite
plug your. We'll wait for you to plug your VCR into Skype.
Yeah.
My new favorite show is Eric telling us about movies he has and then spending 20 minutes trying to find him on that shelf.
That would make a good video show. I think we should do it.
videos.
All right, guys. Let's take a quick break here and do some fan mail.
10 years ago, Halloween, evil had a shape. Terror had a night. And now he's back.
6 bodies, Sheriff. That's what I've seen. I tell you, Michael Myers is here in this town.
Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. He's come home to kill. Halloween 4, rated R.
Starts Friday, October 21st at theaters everywhere.
Hi, my name is Quinn Lord, and I am from Trick or Treat, and you are listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. Back
Joe,
to do
what were
fan
you
mail.
clapping about?
Yeah.
Just excited.
Joe, how many weeks in a row is this you failed to grasp the concept of muting?
Eric,
wasn't on last week.
I
so
do not
one.
think you are allowed to talk about that. So
Well, listen.
recently,
No. I was muted. My mic wasn't being fed into the right thing. That's totally different.
I do like it is nice insight knowing what people do when they're muted. I like that Joe claps like a child and Eric sniffs and
I just
snorts
like cough
and
phlegm up and
types
stuff.
really fast.
Yeah. Just
We're
in
all
my
doing
chair.
different stuff.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address if you'd like to send us your thoughts on whatever. First up, my favorite email of the week, Mark, and you'll find out why here in a second. This is from
Can't wait.
Freddie in Minnesota.
Oh.
Freddie says, I've been listening to you guys for some time now, and I finally hopped onto YouTube and watched the video of a recent episode, and holy shit, you guys are adorable. That is all from Freddie in Minnesota. Thank you, Freddie.
Best email.
We are adorable. You're right.
It's short. It's flattering. It's
It's like he hit
nice.
all the notes here.
Love it.
Caitlin
Mark
says,
and I aren't far from Minnesota. If you want Mark's home address, just email me. I got it.
Caitlin says, forced my bridesmaids to watch Blood Glacier before we left for my wedding, and it was the best wedding present I could have ever asked for. All the lines with
wow.
the banana are pure B movie gold.
You're fucking welcome.
You shouldn't get married though. Get out of that. You got to get out of that shit.
Caitlin emailed again. This is I enjoy this email also, Mark. And it's not flattering.
I chose not to get married.
It's not flattering to me, so here you go. She says, listening to old episodes, and every time someone brings up South Park, Family Guy, or The Simpsons, Eric cannot help himself and always says, insert show name is so old that there are kids that watch that show that haven't seen that episode. Every time one of those shows are quoted, I get very excited that it's going to happen, and 99% of the time it does. Which just shows how consistent the show is. Congratulations from Caitlin.
That's a nice way of saying annoying.
Well, I think it's maybe like, I don't know, it's mostly about myself because like, I just haven't really watched South Park in like 10 years, but I know a ton of South Park shit, but it's probably stuff that like, you know, it's just... John, you're muted, buddy.
You're still muted.
Am I?
Did I miss your sick burn,
can
John?
you hear me?
No, you're still muted, John. John, you're still muted.
You're still muted, Joe.
Does Joe understand how mute works?
John,
Joe,
we can't hear you, John. John, we can't hear you.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Lord.
Anyway, well, I will continue to make that observation if it makes her feel better.
Yeah.
I like to be consistent.
I gotta be
Seriously
the
though, get out of that
latest
fucking
episode of
marriage,
South Park.
Caitlin. All right, it's just a fucking empty hallway.
Jesus, Joe.
Yeah. Let's move on. This is getting dark.
He forgets to mute, and suddenly he's just gone down this weird dark hole.
It depends on what kind of mood Joe's in, because when I talk to Joe about marriage, he says, you hold on to her and never let go. She's the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Well, Mark, you're at Magic the Gathering conventions on the weekend. You do that. You never let go.
Joe, you're on a horror podcast, and you got up at like 5 a.m. to go buy Disney Star Wars toys the day.
Oh yeah, no, make no mistakes. I could definitely I am in the best possible place I could ever be. I wake my wife up every Saturday because Evan and I do a Real Housewives of fucking Beverly Hills podcast. I've pretty much hit rock bottom personally.
Wait, are you guys serious?
Oh yeah.
Why
yeah,
isn't that on the BGH feed? Whose podcast is this? Is it just you two?
Yeah, Evan and I, we just talk about the Real Housewives.
Did you guys know about this?
Is the name of the podcast called Bloody Good Housewives? Because it should be.
Did you guys know about this?
I knew about it from the tweets.
Wow.
We've only done 2 episodes, but you know, it's not.
I'm trying to get my wife to listen because I don't watch the show and it won't really.
Do you
mean
guys
anything
like
to me,
speculate on boob jobs and Botox, or what happens on there?
We've only done 2 episodes.
What's it called?
Friends of the Real Housewives.
Okay.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Well,
I might give it a listen.
Some of my best friends are housewives.
I have to hear this.
I might give it a listen one of these days. We'll see.
It's pretty good.
Hate listens.
The amazing thing, I don't mean to go, like, Evan is such a friendly, nice guy. Like like the first time I met him, my wife and I met him. We got drinks just outside of Disneyland. Like, he's just a nice guy. Like, you can have a conversation with him with only knowing him for like a minute. Like, so you know, it flows pretty well.
Just the fact that you like sincerely love the Real Housewives, to me, like, I'm not judging you, Joe. I just find it to be such a bizarre ripple of your personality. I just don't get it. I don't see where, like, you listen to the scariest death metal ever,
I can't believe
and then you go watch the Real Housewives.
I can't believe you find anything surprising about Joe at this point. I feel like that's the only thing I know about Joe, is that Joe is everything.
And I've known that he watches those shows for years, and I still like contemplate it from time to time.
They're so entertaining. Like, they're just great.
Although I love the Jersey Shore.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's great.
That's a special kind of trash.
You have to check out what is that show? There's one on CMT now, which is pretty much the Jersey Shore, just with rednecks.
Oh yeah,
Dirty South or something like down.
Oh
Dirty
yeah, down something south.
Moonshiners? No, not
Moonshiners.
Yeah. It's really good. You would like it, Eric. If you liked what was that, Buck Wild or whatever the hell it was?
I did like Buck Wild till that dude died.
Yeah, you would like this for sure.
R.I.P.
Party Down South. That's the name.
Yes,
of it.
Man, Buck Wild.
They were on the Soup quite frequently.
Buck Wild was the best, Joe.
Oh, it was great.
Remember that
Loved
show?
it.
I really like that Treehouse Masters show, because when they inevitably reveal that dude is actually a fucking murderer, it's really that show's gonna come full circle.
I did watch Moonshiners once too, and it's so dumb because it's the thing that bothers me about these shows really is that they're actually fake. Like, I don't mean like they're
for sure.
I don't mean like people are directed in a certain way. I mean they're literally written like television shows.
Yes.
But something like, you go to the first season of Jersey Shore, like, And it did get very scripted, but I really believe that those were just drunk, trashy people out doing their thing in the first season.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's what I just really, I get into that. I like a really nice slice of true just ignorance.
Are you telling me that there's not a dude with no teeth named Jim Tom that can tell how much alcohol is in moonshine just by tasting it?
Like, Moonshiners is the dumbest, fakest show ever.
You guys are doing something illegal on TV. Like, I get it. No, I mean, like, even not to get off on like a tangent, but like Evan and I kind of discussed this. I think it was on like the first or second. We've only had 2, but like the best parts of like
I forget which one.
The best part of those Real Housewives show
It's hard
are
to
like
say which one.
When there's obviously something happening where it's not scripted, because like they definitely like, all right, you go here, you talk and whatever, but like then there's like these certain moments where just like shit like hits the fan and like they didn't script it and they weren't expecting it, and like that stuff is like what's like super entertaining.
Well, the thing that really broke me on the Jersey Shore was I went down this rabbit hole one day. This is while it was still on, and I was reading that, like, you know, they worked in that T-shirt shop, right? And like, there's like, and every time they show them, there's a couple people in there, and they're just helping them out. Well, what was really going on was there was like a line of like 300 people down the boardwalk, and before they went in, they had to like sign a release, and they had to promise that they would pretend like they didn't know who these people were for the cameras.
Before Leslie and I
That's
moved
the part that
out of
bothered
Jersey,
me.
before we moved from Jersey, we actually went down to the shore, like further down south, where it's actually really nice. But we stopped, there to kind of like just see it before it was the last season, and they were filming. So outside of that, what was it, the Shore store or something? Like, yeah, it's like a giant crowd of people, and there's like police there watching it, and like you can see the house and back, and there's like cameras everywhere. But they film it in such a way where it just looks like people are kind of hanging out, and like we actually saw, was it the Situation and the Stubby one, like going in to like do work. Like, it's amazing because there's like a giant crowd outside of like people barricaded off, but you never actually see.
You know what I like, Joe? Real reality.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what's weird enough for TV? Real reality. I'm just saying. That's going to be the next revolution in TV. Somebody's just going to start showing real shit, and it's going to blow people's minds.
Isn't that
that's like,
Schnars, you look
like that's
Schnars, you look pregnant with thought over there.
Oh God. Listen, we're already way too far down this rabbit hole, and we have a ton of SBGH. So
well, we ran light in the review, so it's all fine. Toby says, with the discussion of The Forest last week, I started thinking about what other good generic movie titles they could start coming up with that are just absolutely vague and useless. The Door, The Wall, The Table, The Backyard. Just looking around my room gives me like 37 different options. Any ideas?
Do you guys remember The Gate? Like the conversation?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
About the gate.
The gate from the gate?
Yes. So long.
The Sharpie.
For anybody, that's a real old school cut. So
That's
like somebody
very-
emailed our show once and said, hey, I saw you guys reviewed The Gate. I have a friend who bought The Gate from the Gate at a garage sale, and he wanted to know if it's real. Like, can you help me authenticate this gate? And I want to just be like, bro, there's no gate in that movie.
It was like an older woman, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lady. It was an older lady, yeah.
I think I remember, this was before I was on the show, but I think I remember listening to this, and it was like, this guy's like mother like brought it home from like a garage sale because the person said like, this is the actual gate.
Yeah.
From
Also,
the gate.
What a genius.
When we started, I'd have to imagine there was only like a couple dozen horror podcasts, so I feel like the volume of just weird random shit that we got was a lot higher than it is now.
Yeah, they now have more places to send that crap to.
Right. Someone else
authenticated that gate.
That had to be pre-episode 100. If anybody's listening through the classics right now and happens to run across that, shoot us a note.
I think it's like episode like 15.
I think it was
Wasn't there something about someone too that bought like the bottom half of the door from Nightmare on Elm Street? Do you guys remember that?
No, that sounds totally made up.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That was a dream you had.
Someone find that episode. I swear to God, it happened.
All right, guys.
We boring you?
Yeah.
Next.
I don't know.
No.
What are we doing?
I am tired because I have a job that is tiring. Okay, Mark?
You're the one fun to talk about fucking real reality TV for.
Yeah, that conversation was scintillating. So
okay.
All right, guys. We have one. I'm trying to get to the email, Schnars. So
okay. All right.
Well, this is from Andrew. Aussie Andy says, "Happy New Year."
You too, man.
12:11 p.m. on Thursday, and I'm sitting at my desk eating my lunch, leftover pasta, if you're interested, watching you guys on my phone on the Patreon app. Is it? What is? Does he mean the Google thing?
No, well, Patreon has an app now. Good shout there.
Shut up.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Fuck out of here, John.
I don't know. You can download it, and then when you support people, you probably get notifications when we post things. And
So he must be actually. They must have some kind of like media streaming.
well, we post the videos, like we post the YouTube videos to Patreon.
This is great insight.
Anyway.
Tell us more.
And when I say we, I mean me. So
That's not true. I post it when you're not
John
here.
clicks one button
fair.
a week, and that's his.
Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe.
He goes on to
You're
say,
here.
"Is it just me, or does Sophie look like she's in a basement where the only light from her laptop and a mass killer could pop up behind her at any minute?" Also, Colin's frozen face is really funny. How do you guys feel about being my lunchtime entertainment? I think we enjoy it.
I'm fine with
Love it.
I finally saw The Visit on over the weekend, and I forgot. Okay, I'm not gonna read this actually because it's a super spoiler for The Visit.
That's weird. The wife and we just watched that over the weekend too.
Good, right,
Yeah,
Joe?
Joe, what'd you think?
Yeah, we liked it. We liked it a lot. I'd like to re-record the year-end episode
Hashtag
if we can do that.
Poopy diapers. Where would it end up on your list, Joe? Number 1 because it was the last movie you saw.
Not 2. Just so I didn't look like I was just picking the last movie I saw. No, it would have made my top 5 or 10, whatever we did.
That's
I
good.
think, for sure.
Anyway, Aussie Andy says, keep up the great work. Here's to another year of crappy and good movies for you all to review. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. Tweets. We're also on Twitter at BG Horror with the hashtag AskBGH. I will actually do my duty here, Mark, and put them in the chat. Could you send me?
Duty.
Waiting on John here.
Mark, do you need me to resend that one that I sent earlier? Otherwise, I'll just...
Oh, no, I've got that one.
I think we're going to put Fat Buster Rhymes back in the video.
All right,
He's going to
first one
join
is-
us for
Oh,
fan
man.
mail tonight,
You
so-
know what? I've actually been listening to I've been listening to a lot of Buster Rhymes lately, and I feel bad about fat shaming him
When I step
because...
up in the place of your step correct.
Woo-ha!
This first one is from Game Watch Apple. Did you guys see that pic of RJNC nude with your coasters over his wedding tackle?
We did.
It's hard to miss.
Unfortunately, yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
It was the most clever use of coasters, I would say. I don't know.
Not sure how you'd set a glass on that, though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You must have missed the picture of his use of the BGH stickers.
Oh, no, I saw that one, too.
Oh, did I miss?
No, I meant
Are you
Apple
reading
Watch
these out of
Gamer.
order? I didn't have that tweet.
No, that one was a little ways up. Don't
Damn
worry about
it.
it. We're now on Spook It Podcast. You got
Yes.
that queued up, Eric?
Yep.
You ready to go? All right. Spook It Podcast. Contracted Phase 2 on Netflix now. Can this forcefully be added to the list with threat of mutiny? No, thank you.
I mean, I do think there would be some synergy to doing it for like a spooktacular, but there's like
You would
no
use
other
the
way
word
I'm watching it.
synergy. Business guy.
That was my only way to work that in.
Stop pretending like we're ever going to do a spooktacular again, Joe.
So yeah, I think short answer is no.
I mean, we said that, and then we ended up doing one, so it'll just
Did we?
happen a couple
Here's
years
the
from
beauty
now.
of it. You get a spooktacular every week now, Mark.
Yeah.
We're gonna do more. We'll definitely get a winter one in, I think.
Yep. All right, next one from Hoop Crow
Jack Frost
Kruger.
2 is not gonna watch itself.
No, we won't.
Hoop Crow Kruger. Whenever someone mentions suicide, I hear the sound of Bald Bull from Punch Out laughing in my head. Is that weird?
Thank you.
Yeah, that is really weird.
Did you listen to last week's show, Joe?
No.
Well, I was saying that every time I hear like the word suicide or any kind of side, like fratricide, whatever, I hear the sound from Contra when the dude dies.
All those people talking about
Wow.
fratricide really
Any kind of
know,
side, all the sides, basically.
It really gets to Eric.
No, it's just a weird like association because when I was a kid, that was dying.
Yeah, that's fair.
30 guys.
Might want to talk to someone about that. All right, this
Yeah.
next one is from
I'm okay
Alan
with
Merch. Is Joe still using the BGH official Twitter account to try and pick up porn stars?
I wouldn't say pick up, but I mean they find us, and I
Yeah,
find
at some point it became like self-aware. Like he doesn't even have to do it anymore,
Yeah,
and it just happens.
Porn stars come to us.
I do get very excited when it happens, but
Oh, here's a good one that I don't know if any of us will be able to respond to. Has 2016 already blown its horror-esque movie wad with The Revenant? This is from A Howard 0615.
Yeah, I want to see it
seen
so
it yet.
bad.
is
I
that
just
a
haven't
horror
had a chance.
movie? Is
None of us have seen it. I've heard that it is crazy violent, and so I want to see it.
I'm a big Leo DiCaprio fan. I think I've said that many times on the show.
Yeah. Come on, who isn't?
Yeah, I mean, we all want to see it, but I think it was a sophistical joint? I think it was, right?
You know
No,
what?
it was not.
Actually, my wife has a bunch of friends coming to town this weekend, and I'm gonna have some free time. So
God damn it! Why didn't we just watch it for this week? And it was my staff pick. Okay, next one. Live the Fringe. They should make a new site called Twitter for Assholes, and if you want to tweet longer, that's where you go. Agree?
that's a quote for me from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I stand by it.
No, well, I liked
wait, this
whoever
person
said that's
just
called Facebook.
Quoted Eric and then said agree. Of course, Eric agrees. It's
Yeah,
his thing.
weird.
This next one's from Jer Bear Gutkin. This weekend I watched all the Friday the 13th. What's y'all's favorite Friday the 13th film?
Good question, Jared.
Yeah.
So, real quick, Mark, there's 3 from Jer Bear. They all go together. They're related, interconnected.
I will read the next 2 then. What's your least favorite Friday the 13th film? So we have most favorite, least favorite, and finally, what is the most awesome / memorable Jason kill for you?
I mean,
Sleeping bag.
I love every
we have
part
to
of this.
do
Yeah,
a plug
that's-
for the video that Eric made,
Oh, yeah.
and then I can't even comment after
My
that.
Friday the 13th remix. Check it out. YouTube.com/
I'm gonna
BGH
go.
video.
So I'm not gonna go a most or least favorite yet, but I will say most memorable kill, just to be a contrarian, is the liquid nitrogen face smash from Jason
That's
X.
pretty good.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good,
pretty
yeah.
good. I agree. To me, the remake is easily my least favorite. If I had to say
Oh yeah.
which of the
That's not fair. Come
if
on.
I had to say which of the original 10 is my least favorite, I guess I would just say Jason X because I just have less nostalgia for that one. Although I did see that.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
did
Like,
see
I thought
it.
that was so much fun.
No, it's fine. I'm just picking out the 10. Like I did see that twice in theaters.
Because she's a robot, Eric. It's
Um,
hilarious.
I was so excited that I was like finally getting to see a Friday the 13th movie in theaters because I was like too young when they initially came out that I saw Jason X twice in the theater in like a week.
Wait, what? How old were you when that came out?
No,
I'm
Jason
saying
X.
that was the first time that I got to see one in the theater.
I saw that with my fucking wife.
Yeah, I was in college. Joe. The last one came out like 10 years before. The last one was like
Yeah, I guess it was.
Jason X
Goes
came
to
out
Hell.
in 2001, in case anyone's
yeah,
wondering.
and Jason Goes to Hell was like 1993 or something.
Which one is part 3? The one where it turns out to not be
No, it's
Yeah.
part 5.
part
That's
5?
my least favorite.
Yeah, I'm
too.
not that one.
So here's the thing: people say that because it's not Jason, but you go back and watch that, and you take away
Yeah,
that part.
maybe.
The whole thing is still like a really
It's tough
solid
because like
Jason
all
movie.
of them kind of blend into one. You
Yeah.
know.
And it
I'm
has
having
this
a
amazing
very
scene
hard time
where
separating all of them in
it
my
has
head
it,
right now.
I don't. I could recite them all from memory right now. There's part 5 has this amazing scene where Miguel A. Nunez Jr. plays like a punk, and he is taking a shit because he's eating a bad burrito.
Oh, the damn burritos.
And Jason is like stabbing this metal thing through the like fucking tin shack that he's taking a dump in.
I take it
It's real
back.
good.
No, that's
no.
not
I
my
like
least-
part 5 a lot. I think part 5, like people unfairly like diss part 5 because it doesn't have Jason. And
Which was Jason 6 is
listen,
Lives, right? Jason
yes,
Lives.
Jason Lives. I think is the best.
I love
like,
that
by
one. That
far.
one is awesome. Just great.
But like, if you were old enough to have seen part 5 in the theater, you get a pass. Like, I would have been pissed if I had gone to a theater not knowing that and had it happen. All right, Casey, you get a pass. But
I saw 6 in the theater. I think that was my
going
first.
back as it just kind of watching them all. It's like as solid as everything around it. I would contend.
I guess if I was gonna say like my least favorite,
I don't
and
love
only
2
because
that much.
Jason Takes Manhattan just pissed me off because they built it up as like he's gonna be in New York City running around, and
Yeah.
3/4 of the film is just them on a ship like getting there. Like,
So
That's
I
true.
agree. I also
but it's
I
almost
really,
completely redeemed by the boxing scene.
oh, it's amazing. It's awesome.
I really
It's great.
like Jason Takes Manhattan though. I think like the worst sin than like the time spent on the boat thing is the fact that he teleports. Like because it ruins all attention. Like literally he magically teleports in that movie, and they show you very specifically that he's doing it somehow, which I find really weird. But
Actually, I'm sorry. What's the Jason, the one where he goes to hell?
Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason
Jason
Goes
Goes
to
to Hell,
it's,
yeah.
yeah. It's not even
I
Jason.
love Jason
for,
Goes to
like-
Hell actually.
Really? See,
Yeah.
that one I dislike.
But I was young enough, Joe, to like really have young person nostalgia for all of these movies. That
See,
one
I feel
could-
like when I watched that, like I just loved Jason, watching Jason kill, and for most of that movie, it's not actually him. Like you don't even really see him. So it's kind of
It's got
like,
that great scene where the guy's talking about how he take a shit on Jason's mask, and
yeah.
then he comes back to life. It's pretty funny. I don't know. It's dumb, but I like Jason Goes to Hell too.
So there you go. How's that for some answers?
It's just Friday the 13th, man. It's so
Just the
good.
best. I love those movies.
I could
so
go on.
good.
I could do a whole show every day about Friday the 13th and never run out of material.
Yeah.
I know. It's amazing.
I got
It also just makes me so sad the remake was so shitty because it's like not that hard to make a
It
Friday
really
the 13th
was.
movie.
It really
It was
shitty.
awful. I think one of the first things I wrote for the site was about how I hope this remake doesn't suck because I just got a tattoo of Jason's mask. And
I'm starting to see. I feel like a lot of internet apologism for the remake. Like it's in that part of like the internet life cycle where now people are like, I don't know, guys, maybe the remake's okay. No, stop it. It's not.
I mean, I hope the only lasting impact is that now it's canon that Jason grows weed. I feel like that's got to be the thing. That...
The real Jason does not take enough time out of murdering to grow weed. Okay, he just murders. That's all he does.
Well,
He doesn't
I guess he's
sleep.
only in session like 3 months out of the year.
He
man.
doesn't sleep. He doesn't eat. He doesn't dig holes to put ladies in. He doesn't grow weed. He just
But
murders.
what if he killed a dude that had some shitty weed that had some seeds in it and he threw the seeds in the woods
Like it
and
was
then they grew?
accidental.
Yeah.
Okay, that I would buy.
Is that better?
Those plants seemed cultivated though.
Well, you figure summer camp's only in session for like the summer months. What's he do the rest of the year?
He walks around looking for something to murder. He just doesn't find anything.
I guess I'll take up gardening.
Picks
All
off
right,
an
next
occasional
one.
squirrel.
Next one's from BC Likes You. Do me a solid and goof up some more so I can make some gifs. Still missing a good Schnars or Casey gif.
I mean, nothing beats Mark pouring whiskey down his shirt, like 3 inches from his mouth.
Yeah.
There was also the good
like
one of
a
the
baby.
spooktacular. When I was living in the house still, my wife like snuck around the back of the building and like stuck her face in the window that was right in front of me. And
That
I
was a good
"Ugh."
one.
I think you could get some pretty sweet don't give a fuck vaping gifts from Casey.
I was gonna say.
And just have the glasses come down.
Okay.
I think we lost Joe.
No, he went to the bathroom.
All right. Well, I'm just going to keep reading. This next one's from Merle Lauren. What is your opinion on the creature feature movies? Do you think there are too many cliches in these types of movies?
No.
No, I
That's
think
part of
creature
it.
features are like really fun. I think like I like when they're done because it's something different. I just didn't love this one necessarily.
There's not, you don't really get movies like, I'd like to think of something, if we're talking about how fucking wacky the 90s were, you don't get like Pumpkinhead type movies anymore.
Yeah. Or they're
Yeah.
because all that stuff's relegated to sci-fi now. I feel like, and just stupid versus movies, and
Well, and there's just not.
every once in a while you get something like that Ed Sanchez movie, like the Alien one. I mean the Bigfoot movie too, but
Exists.
Altered, like stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like
yeah.
low budget kind of throwback monster stuff. Very rarely, but I'd like to say too, I really like the username Turbay Kid. It's BAE,
Turbay.
as in Bay.
Yep.
We got that.
The kids say bay. The kids say bay. All right. Next one is from B. Laster. Why did the Schnapps character and his lizard people overlords crash the stock market today?
Boredom
It's
mainly. I
called
think.
shorting.
Eric,
Big
have you
short.
been reading the internet?
Yeah. You pump the
What's the
stock
internet?
up, pump and dump. That's another one.
Pump and dump.
That's what you do.
That's what Joe does.
All right. Moving on.
Next one's from CK Owusu. Any chance you guys will do Yakuza Apocalypse at some point?
Yes.
Well, funny you should ask that, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
It's Casey's staff pick.
It is.
It is currently
Heyo.
scheduled. It looks like mid-February.
Love it.
Sweet.
Just
Oh.
penciling in, based
Just-
on our open sessions and whatnot.
Just in time for Valentine's
The last
Day.
Takashi Miike film, is that Miike?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the last film of his I watched, I could not make it through, and it also had the word Yakuza in the title. So
What the
Well,
fuck are you
see,
guys
the
talking
reason I
about?
picked this though is because a lot of people say this is like return to form for Mike.
yeah,
So I'm hoping.
Thank God. I've been waiting for Mike to get back to form for years.
So glad Joe got back just in time for
Joe.
this.
All right, next one. New Jersey Nick, Brock Lesnar versus the Arctic. All of it.
It's a fair fight. That's
Is he going shirtless or not though?
I'm pretty sure he would kill a bear with his bare hands and then rip it open and.
I mean,
warm
there'd be
himself
plenty
with
of
it.
cod up there for him to sustain himself on. So
Endless cod.
I actually made cod tonight. That's all I could think about. It's
Did
a,
you?
it's a
You
very
trying to get swole like the Rock? Is
yeah,
that what you're-
yeah. It's a very fishy fish. Like for him to eat that much cod in one day, I don't know how he does it.
It's
You trying to get yoked, bro?
No, I'm trying to get my omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah, I bet
Because
you
they're
are.
good
delicious.
for you. My doctor told me I should do that.
All right, this is definitely something you got to bring up in the feed, Eric. This is Reen75. FYI, the dog is a Hungarian Vizsla. I have one.
Adorable.
That dog was adorable.
That's
Like,
a tiny one though in this picture.
Yeah.
Or that's a giant dog bed. They are really no. I really like the dog in this movie. Like nice, big, expressive eyes. Like very sweet, and they had like this great relationship. And then they just have all this horrible things happen to the dog.
I wish we talked about the ending because I still do not. I don't know what the.
Did we?
I know.
Well, it's
That
too late
ship
now.
has already sailed, but I just want to know how that little fuzzy baby got in that dog. That's all I want to know.
Ooh.
I don't think I want to know. Maybe I don't
Well,
want to.
No.
I had to ask too. I watched out of the movie. Like, was there some weird shit going on with peanut butter here, or
Did somebody fuck Tinny? That's all I want to know.
Didn't they?
Oh, that
he
guy,
let him like
that guy's
lick
been up
his-
there for 5 years.
yeah,
That guy
he licked his hand.
All right.
Wait, John, what were you saying? You were trying to.
No, he licked the cut on his hand at one point.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
licked his
Yeah, in
blood.
the very beginning, when the guy
Oh.
gets cut, the dog licks it, which I thought was kind of
Right,
weird that you let your
science,
dog
I
lick
get
an
it.
open wound, but
He licked an open wound and then had a human baby. I get
But
it.
for
Okay.
sure, Tinny
Caught up.
had some city miles on him.
city miles.
Be honest.
Some Tinny Miles. All right, that's it for the Twitter.
Cool.
Yeah.
At
Wake
BG Horror on Twitter. So, Patreon. If you want to see a live stream of the show every week, or if you want to see, if you'd like to see this video as soon as it goes live, like before everybody else sees it, or you want access to every single back episodes, including ones where people email us about the gate in the gate, you can check out patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. It's been a campaign we launched earlier this year. It's been a lot of, it's been good for us, and I think is going to allow us to bring some even more cool stuff to you guys in the future. So, but the other cool thing is you sign up through the Patreon app. If you get the certain level, you get all the classics, and then they're all just in a Google Drive. So you can download the G Drive app and just stream them right from there, which is a nice little touch. So, yeah, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. Also check out our youtube.com/BGH video. If you don't want to become a Patreon, but you want to see these video episodes, they go up on our YouTube after like a month or something, so you can check those out. And Mark, want to mention a tweet with BGH again?
Yep. So this Sunday at 8 p.m., our new classers are going to be watching Mortal Kombat. And they're going to be live tweeting it, and then you'll see a recap early next week on the site, and then the following week, hopefully, they will be doing Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Annihilation.
Great.
Annihilation.
And Joe, what's the
The
name?
Requiem.
What's the name of your and Evan's Real Housewives podcast?
Friends of the Real Housewives.
All right, real quick. Favorite Real Housewives show and least favorite Real Housewives show.
Oh God, there's. I mean,
Come on.
I was never a big fan of like the Miami cast. I don't even think that one's they're coming back anymore. Atlanta has really grown on me this season, but I would definitely put it down at the lower. I mean,
So
Orange
what's your
County.
favorite?
Orange County, I would probably put as my favorite.
Joe, how many of
just
these
as the
shows are
original.
there?
Oh, it's
God,
amazing.
There's like 40 of them.
But Beverly Hills. I mean, Beverly Hills is the one that Evan and I are talking about right now, and is on fleek.
I'm not
kids.
gonna lie. There's something really intriguing to me about the idea of like you and Evan very, very seriously discussing these shows. I think people should check it out.
I mean, I don't, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel like the conversation goes really well. Like it's
I feel
pretty
like
fun.
we're really good. I'm just.
We're
gonna say
really
it.
Kim
chill.
Richards.
She is not on this season, but yeah.
That makes me sad to see her on there because I used to have such a crush on her when she was a Disney star.
Well, her sister Kyle Richards is still on there.
Ah, cool.
Hey,
Who was
John.
in Washer in the Woods.
John,
Yes.
one last thing. If people are not patrons but would like a T-shirt that says Bloody Good Horror on it, or maybe like a soft sweatshirt, or like some other apparel, how would they do that?
They can do it by going to our website and clicking on, I believe it says store mark on the website.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to the website now to verify. But yeah,
that is unmistakable.
Yeah, we work with a company called TeePublic, so you can also just go. Actually, it says T-shirts, might be. But if you go to TeePublic, you can search for Bloody Good Horror. The nice thing is we also we've been curating some fun other designs from other TeePublic.
Yeah, they have
creators.
amazing shirts.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff there. We pick out some stuff that's typically related to the movie we're watching, or we try to work in a nice rotation. So, but yeah, we've got 2 Bloody Good Horror designs up there. You know, maybe we're working on something down the road. We'll see.
Awesome. Thank you, Schnars. That's going to do it for this episode of Bloody Good Horror. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're back next week with a review of The Boy out in theaters across these United States. Hope you enjoyed this show, and we'll talk to you then.
Adios.
See you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.